So if you are new to the channel, new to the podcast, welcome to Presently Podcast. This is episode 2, and today we're going to be talking about work. Yeah, we're going to be talking about work. We're going to be talking about all different aspects of work. But first and foremost, let's talk about the work that you have to do in order to get to where you want to be. And there's going to be different subtopics of that. It's going to be obviously the work that we have to do to just survive, the work that we have to do and the work that we have to put in that we don't get paid for in order to obviously further our careers and further our journeys in whatever industry that we want to get further in. And then also we're going to touch on potential dream jobs and that kind of stuff. But first and foremost, I'm gonna call this work, because that's what it feels like, for real. That's what it genuinely feels like. It feels like just work. The work that you just gotta do just to, like I said, maintain the cost of living, maintain natural living, and yeah, maintain life. Because it's not necessarily just creatives that have to do this, by the way. It's not just people that are actors, dancers, animation artists, all this kind of stuff. It's not just us that have to go through this, working as a waitress or working as a barista or working as, working in retail, whatever it may be. It's also people that have solid 9-to-5s working for companies, whether it be in an office or whether they are, whatever, it could be accountants, lawyers, whatever it may be, and they have their dream. It could be a podcast like this, and to monetize it, or it could be a genuine small business that they're trying to create in a completely different field to what they're in. So, like I said, for example, a lawyer, they may be wanting to start a bakery. You know what I mean? You know, you got all these, what's it called now? The social media cake companies and that. Like, you can just see all these different type of cake. You can get a cake for anything now, Kit Kat cake or whatever, anything. That could be their dream. And the things that we have to do and the things that we have to financially get through in order to actually bring that into reality. I think, we're going to talk about that. But first and foremost, the best example I can use is myself. So I can talk about potential hypotheticals of random Jimmy the lawyer that wants to open up a cake business or whatever on social media. Cool, but that's not going to help you. That's not going to help me. So start off with me. As you guys know, if you watched the first episode, I'm an actor. Also created Be Present, which is obviously the page that you're watching this on now. And it wasn't always, you may be thinking as well, like, be present is your job. Or like, what do you mean? Like, when you're not acting, are you not doing be present stuff? And I was about to say great question, but it was me to ask question. Anyway, but yeah, no, for me, and everyone's different, by the way. I've actually gone on both sides of the fence with this, but the business that I've created, I first started it in COVID, around the time that there was a lot of kind of financial turbulence, and we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know what tomorrow was going to bring, basically. So I felt that it would have been a smart thing, obviously, logical thing to do was to create that business that I've always thought about creating, because now that I've got all of this free time. So I did that, and I focused so much on numbers and focused so much on figures and revenue and profit and all this kind of stuff that I missed the actual mission that I was trying to put out, which I said in my first episode, which is build a community. And I felt that, well, I can build a community. I made money too, because at the end of the day, this is what we're all trying to do at the end of the day. So that was my headspace, and I kind of burnt myself out in regards of having so much ambition and so much drive, but constantly, not necessarily because there's always going to be obstacles in the road when you're starting a business, of course, but because there's my resources were so limited, that it literally was almost, I was fighting against myself by trying to do things that were completely out of my control to do, regarding the business at that time. And instead of pushing my energy and efforts into a different way that I could expand my business, like how I am now, I kind of just, like I said, got burnt out with the idea of trying new kind of smart ways to both make money and also build a community. And it was just facing too many like roadblocks type thing. So, I, like I said, got burnt out. And it was COVID, things were opening up, lockdowns were ending. I think it was the second lockdown now, got to about August, I think it was. And I needed to get a job. And like I said in the first episode, around COVID times, everything was locked down, everything was done, everything was finished. No jobs or anything like that, no movement. So in terms of the industry, in terms of the acting industry, nothing was going on. So, and I didn't have an agent at that time. I literally just left my agent after I got that job. I literally left my agent straight after that because, for about 3 years, I had like 5 auditions with them. From 2016 to 2019, I had like 5 auditions with them. It was not great. But so I left them. So I was agentless, and things were opening up again in terms of like theatres and stuff. And I'd had nothing. My spotlight had run out. I was finished. So had to jump back into that 9-to-5 life. Had to jump straight back in, which was scary because prior I had like obviously like sales experience and whatnot in various different industries, but no, you don't want to jump back in. You want to stay present. You want to stay in the world that you're trying to move in. So that was difficult for me, but I did it. I got a job as a duty manager at a go-karting company in North London. So I managed that, which was cool. I was there for about a year, and then it was in North London, by the way. And I'm originally from on the outskirts of West London. So that was difficult for me, obviously not being close to family and friends and whatnot. So I ended up I kind of done a double whammy and got a promotion and a location move. So I became the assistant general manager of the West London site. And I did that for about a year. And it was in that year when I was in West London where everything started moving again, where you start to realise that what you're supposed to do and what you're doing aren't aligning. So, for example, as soon as I moved to West London, I got an agent. It probably took me, I think, within 2 months I got an agent. Within was it even 2 months? I think it might have been shorter. Within about 2 months I got an agent, and then I got my first job, which was just a commercial job, my first acting job in God knows how, first job since COVID. So that obviously felt good. And obviously I was still working on the feature film that was coming out later on that year, the following year. So things were moving, and obviously doing the 9-to-5 is the same daily routine, but every day things were happening that were showing me I don't need to be here anymore. I shouldn't be here anymore. And I couldn't ignore that voice. So it ended up being a case of me just leaving. Like, did I have anything saved up? Did I have anything to kind of fall back on? No. I knew that I was repeating the same cycle that I was doing maybe 4 or 5 years ago before COVID, where I was like, okay, well, have a job and like you'll be able to figure it out with your auditions and with this or that and with X, Y, Z, you'll be able to figure it out. Never works. So I took the jump. But yeah, no, yeah, full-time employment's all that I knew. So it was very scary to obviously leave. But like I said, I felt like the cycle was repeating itself. So I just knew that now was the time, basically. So yeah, I left. Started to do Amazon delivery driving. So there's an app called Amazon Flex that I started doing, and they pay you weekly. So that was obviously that was one of the things that I was doing. And then I also decided to move out again of London. So I moved down to South, which is like Sutton area, which is slightly cheaper. And also it was kind of closer to where I was doing Amazon as well. So it stopped kind of that kind of commute driving, started to save money on petrol and whatnot. So yeah, I was just doing that, auditioning, getting the odd job every now and then, got a few commercials, and that was just the daily life. That was just how I was maintaining life. And I felt within my soul, I felt so much better, because I felt that when I wasn't doing what I wanted to do with my life, which was obviously audition, prepare for self-tapes, XYZ, do workshops and whatnot, I could then do other things that mattered to me, play football, go to the gym. And then is when once I had done all those things that made me happy and kind of made my soul feel good, I knew that then I could be like, well, all right, cool, I'm going to prioritize Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm going to bang out some work. I'm going to do I'm going to bang out some work. And that, for me anyway, was a much better mindset and a much better headspace to live in, really. So even now, I've got to a point where I'm making pretty much the same amount I was making at the go-karting place. Literally the same amount, and that was full time. That was 5 days a week, not having my weekends, not being able to watch football, not being able to play football, not being able to do all the things that I enjoy about life, just in order to survive. And it did not calculate. It did not calculate. The calculations were wrong. So I had to make some adjustments, man. For real. So yeah, now, like I said, doing Amazon. I'm a part-time manager still, but I'm a part-time manager at an art centre. Do you know, like it's so much more connected. Don't get me wrong, I love karting. I love going out on track and enjoying myself, and being with my colleagues and whatnot, having fun with my colleagues, having fun with customers as well. But it wasn't attached. It wasn't football. Like it didn't give me that drive to go to work, if that makes sense. Whereas when I sometimes go to work now at the art centre, there's a musical being played, or there's a symphony being played, there's an orchestra being played, there's a West End show, not a West End show, but a West End adaptation of a show that's being played. Because we've got I think it's a 2,000-seater concert hall that has obviously tribute bands. Jimmy Carr performed just the other day, last weekend, I think it was, last Saturday or Friday or something like that. So yeah, get to go to events like that, be around colleagues that some of them aren't connected to the arts or connected to the industry whatsoever, but some of them are. Some of them are actresses, some of them are actors. Some of them even want to be behind the stage and be in production and be in crew and be in the technical teams for like West End shows or TV post-production and all that kind of stuff. So the conversations that I'm having on the side of the job are still like, they're nurturing that side of my brain of the industry that I want to go into. Whereas before I was just talking about Lewis Hamilton, and I'm not gonna lie, I was just chatting shit. They were like, oh, how do I take this turn? And I was like, well, this is how I take it, and I'm pretty quick, so I don't know how Lewis will take it, but yeah. So it was just a disconnect, do you know what I mean? Whereas now, like even the really simple thing of like talking about movies, I know movies is a very general thing, but when you're talking, there's an actor or someone connected to the TV and film industry having a conversation with them about TV and film, or a film that's just come out, or a movie that's just come out, is very different to just having a general conversation about TV and about a TV show or a film, because there's certain things that pop up like that only people within the industry or someone that's been on set will pick up on, or they'll even think about. Or like, how many times, I can't tell you, I know I'm kind of rambling a little bit, but how many times, if you're an actor or an actress watching this, or just someone within TV and film, how many times have you watched something and you know that person that you're talking to is also in TV and film? How many times have you said to them, oh, continuity? How many times? How many times? I guarantee you, there has been at least 5 times where you have gone to someone and said, continuity. Oh, continuity. Hair was on the other side. Oh, no. Yeah, bare times. And it's just things like that. Continuity is probably one of the biggest ones, but there's so many other things that you're only going to bring up, or someone's going to bring up to you if they know that you're in the industry. And that's the same everywhere. I'm not trying to make it just a TV and film. I'm sure it's the same everywhere. But yeah, where was I? That is, that's currently what I'm doing now. I think I said at the beginning of the episode, I'm going to do a present. If you haven't been there, I said at the beginning of the episode, I believe that on my first episode, I did a previously, presently, and then eventually, and I'm going to do the same thing. So obviously my go-karting job, all that life, pre-COVID, all that kind of stuff, that was previously. Presently is what I've just kind of spoken about now, really. And just the day-to-day of just making your life work for you. And presently, I can say consciously, yes, there's still struggles that you have, whether it be financial struggles, mental struggles, that pop up just as you would if you were in a 9 to 5. Like, even though you're financially calm, there'll be other stresses that come into your life, and that's just how life is. So, but I can say overall, I'm happier now because I can do things like this. For one, there would never be a time, there would never be a week where I could think about doing this or have the time to, because obviously doing this is a lot bigger than what you're watching now. It's creating the time. It's but mustering up the energy to do it, mustering up the confidence to do it, mustering up X, Y, and Z to do this and that. It's a whole bunch of mustering, fam. So, I couldn't even think about doing something like this a year ago or 18 months ago. Not a chance. So yeah, happy days. That is presently. And eventually, boy, there's a few things going on in the pipeline, innit? There's a few things. Got a few things penciled and whatnot. A few things that don't kick off until 2024. Then one's there. Pilot season in February. For those of you that don't know, pilot season over in the States is in February, LA. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Yeah? I'm keeping my fingers crossed. But again, eventually, the dream is obviously acting, and the dream is to through acting connect and network with people. Like, it's not this pie in the sky dream of, oh, I'm going to get casted in the biggest Netflix series ever and I'm going to be working next to Denzel Washington and did it. No, it's none of that. But getting booked on, whether it be one job or a collective of jobs that have the people. I'm not saying the status of people. Doesn't have to be famous people. I'm talking about people that are just as creative and hungry as me. So when you go home from work, when I say work as in the set, and you finished your episode or finished your scene for that day, what are you doing when you get home? Are you looking at other stuff? Are you thinking about, are you writing, bro? Are you writing? Because if you're not writing, then we can't really talk. I'm not going to lie to you, because every day something pops up into my head about creating this or this, just a short film, or like nothing, like just something like, I've had this idea, it's a short scene, but I know so many people will connect with it, and so many people have lived an element of what that is, so I want to make it. If your brain's not like that, then Be Present won't be for you. Does that make sense? Like, I want to use acting and me getting booked into jobs as an avenue to find people like me. And if you're freaking Jaden Smith, great, cool. Jaden, come through, bro. Come through. But you don't have to be Jaden. Like, I will listen to you. Being at jobs, it makes it so much easier to talk about art, because again, it's great to build a community like this slowly but surely, but it's not how it always works. People on social media now are very, which is fair, a lot of people are very like at arm's length, and because there's been so much scamming in the past, there's been too much trust in the early stages, that now so many people are so reserved that people like me can't find other people out there to create with. Does that make sense? So that's why, again, like I said at the beginning of this video, I first tried to be financially driven and purpose driven, and it just didn't align. Whereas now I'm just being solely purpose driven. So until I go to jobs and I can talk to people about Be Present, I can talk to fellow actors, makeup artists, singers, dancers, about Be Present and what it would be like to be a Be Present artist, or be a Be Present client. If you're a small business, be a Be Present client. Then it's not gonna grow. It's not gonna blossom, because I'm not gonna wait for financial opportunities to talk about Be Present. I'm gonna do it in the organic way that I feel that I need to do it. Why am I pushing up on the camera? Just ease up now. Just ease up. Let me know, by the way, if you prefer this setup rather than me sitting down. I kind of prefer it. I might change my attire. The wife beat is a little bit. I don't know. The wife beat is a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I like the wife beater. Yeah, I like the wife beater still. Anyway, rambling. But yeah, man. That's what Be Present. That's why, if you're thinking, oh well, why are you not, when auditions aren't going crazy or self-tapes aren't going crazy, you ain't got things to work on, why aren't you working on Be Present? Because I want to nurture it organically, bro. I don't like I said, I've said to so many people, I want to be doing this when I'm 60. Like, I like when people say, oh, that person sold. No. No. I may sell a part of it, but I'm gonna remain ahead, kind of, you know what I mean, be on the board of director type thing. I may sell something, all right, cool, yeah, you can, all right, here, but it's gonna be my thing for life, bro. But yeah, you know what? That's the episode. I'm not gonna ramble and make anything. That's the episode. That's work, yeah. And again, I didn't really touch on like the non-creative experience, because at the end of the day, that's not me. I know I said I'd touch on it a little bit, but that's just not how the episode went. So if you're non-creative, I apologize. There will be stuff out there for you. There will be stuff out there for the people that want to create small businesses that aren't necessarily creative. But if you're making a small business, that's creative. I don't care. You could be making your own accountancy firm. That's creative, because you're creating something from nothing, bro. So I'll have content for you. And it's not easy for you lot either. It's not easy, because you may not have financial struggles because you've got your salary-based job 40k plus, 50k plus, or whatever, and you're good financially for whatever your reality is, whether you've got kids or not, I don't know, but whatever your reality is, you're able to maintain it for now. So your struggle is more with time, and the only advice that I know that I can give, because that's not the reality that I live in, the only advice that I can give is that there's a person called Chris Williamson that went on the Diary of the CEO. Watch their podcast, but there's a specific quote that I'm going to not quote, but a segment that he said in the podcast, and he said, the price to pay to be successful, not many people are willing to pay it. And he went on to say that there's a lot of loneliness, there's a lot of people not understanding you, there's a lot of, well, I'm not going to explain and spend time being nice and explaining because I care of what people think of me. All of that gets thrown out the window. If you want to be successful, it is a very lonely and very it can be cold. It can be a very it can make you think, is it supposed to feel this way? So you do other choices that you think are nice choices, and it's those nice choices that are stopping you from being successful. And that may seem very, you're not really saying anything really, but I'm trying to pinpoint, you have to be a lot more efficient with your time, and being efficient with your time may be you having difficult conversations with certain people, and that could be family, that could be wife, that could be, do you know what I mean? Now, not to go too deep into my thing, but if you're someone with kids and you're trying to build that kind of successful life for them as well, then you have to basically split yourself in half, because I will never say that your kids have to have less time with you in order for you to be successful. You bring your kids with you. I own business. Not teach them, don't be freaking Joe Jackson, but bring them along and make it fun for them. It may be harder for you to make it fun for them, but make it fun for them so it becomes an experience and a memory, and it can be something like, oh yeah, I hated it, but I went with dad. I hated it, yeah, but dad made it fun. Or afterwards, we make it for them. And that's my only advice, because yeah, make content with them. Like right now, I've got my little nephew Zion, and there will be a time where I'll do some content with him, man. Yeah, I'll do some content with him and bring them in part of the journey. Like, I'm not selling anything. I don't want to. The funny thing is, I don't want to sell anything, but the natural order of worth in this human realm is money. I think I said that right. The natural value of worth in this human realm is money. So I'm trying to show everyone's worth, and show that everyone's worth doesn't need to be on the biggest scale. So you don't need to be of worth to Nike. You don't have to be of worth to Coca-Cola. You don't have to be of worth to any of those big high street brands or global brands. You can be of worth to Susan's Cake Bakery. You could be of worth to Anthony's Law Firm. You could be of worth to, do you see what I'm trying to say? Find your worth. And I want to help people find their worth. I like how that finished. I like how I closed that. So for the second time, thank you for coming. This is going to be the end of the episode. There's going to be more stuff. I'm probably going to record another episode right now, because you guys were waiting too long for the second episode. So I do not want you to have to wait again. So I'll have the next episode for you. That is our promise, eh? That is our promise. All right, I'm going to catch you lot. Peace. Come on.